Hey, good afternoon, guys. Good evening, I must say. I'm
Hey
I'm,
Steve,
I'm
hey
getting
Bart.
I'm getting so delusional of time now, just because of the busy days that I can't even tell if it's afternoon or evening anymore. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this EstateX Livestream, where we're on with two of the biggest MVPs of the company and soon to be the biggest MVPs in the totality of the RWA space. I have the pleasure to be on with CTO Graham and CMO Steve. And today we have a lot to cover, and we're going to do some deep divings into the actual technicalities of the blockchain. And I know that the gents have a lot to tell and a lot to share with you. But first of all, let's do a quick check-in. Steve, how are you doing today?
Good, mate. Good. New week, new beginnings, lots of opportunities, lots of things to share with the community, lots of things happening behind the scenes. And yeah, this is an exciting one. Obviously, everyone knows about the L1 blockchain, but they haven't really heard about the details and why we're so excited about the L1 blockchain. So yeah, been looking forward to this for a while.
Great to hear. And indeed, a lot to cover, and a lot will be covered by the superstar himself, Graham. Graham, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I don't know if I'm a superstar. I think we're all superstars, but I'm doing well. Like Steve said, a new week, but really, was there any end to the last one? We just keep working. It's just all one continuous work day, basically.
Yeah.
There you
But when
go.
you love
There
what
you
you
go.
do, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, I'm excited for each and every day.
100%, 100%. And it's just, as we always say, it's a massive responsibility with what we're doing as well. Obviously, tokenized real estate is where we began, but now branching out to becoming, at the end of Q1, be one of the leaders in RWA. And one of the main ways that we're going to be doing that is this L1 blockchain. EstateX is really filling in a gap in the market. There's a lot of people out there that are seeing these L1s and are seeing these things happening in Web3, but they're not seeing that mass worldwide adoption. And it's almost tainting the RWA industry, so to speak, because people are thinking, is this really going to take off? Is this really going to be for the masses, or is this just going to be for Web3? And what we're doing, as everybody knows, is EstateX is bringing the real world into RWA. And that's obviously a really big thing about the L1 and why we're doing this. It's great for the institutions, but it's also great for the independent music artists. It's great for the fighters. It's great for just even the smaller people, the medium people, the people that you wouldn't necessarily think could get onto blockchain can actually get onto blockchain now. We're in talks with sports teams, sports leagues who understand RWA. I think if this was a year ago, it would have been a bit harder because a lot of other people didn't really understand crypto, didn't understand the blockchain, didn't really understand tokenization. But now you're seeing a lot of these music artists, a lot of these sports teams understanding tokenization a little bit, curious about it, wanting to dip their toe into it, but haven't got a clue how they would even get their fan base onto the blockchain. And this is obviously where we come in, bringing the real world into the real world into RWA, which is obviously massive and unfortunately not being done by enough companies at this moment. So really excited to be here. And obviously we'll touch upon the use cases and obviously remind people about how 25 to 35% of the revenue from the blockchain is going to flow back into the ESX token as well. So it's not even just going to be great for the blockchain and great for RWA, it's also obviously going to be great for all of our investments of ESX as well. So without further ado, we're going to be covering a lot of things, and obviously over to, yes, you definitely are a superstar, Graham, over to our superstar CTO to kind of talk about, not just why the blockchain is great and why our blockchain and our L1 is going to be great, but also most importantly, how we compare to everybody else. People want to understand how we compare to the big boys and understand why we're so excited and why we're so bullish and why we believe by this time next year, this time in a few quarters, we will be the main authority in RWA. So over to you, Graham.
Well, I think, Steve, I think you hit on some very important points. It's a privilege for us to be in this position and us to be able to establish this company and this ecosystem as the primary dominant chain for across the board for everyone, for Wall Street, but also for Main Street. And I think Steve was hitting on some very, very important points here that we should point out. He said, RWA, it's being tainted because there's no adoption. And that rings true. That's absolutely 100% accurate. And the reason why, we've had this discussion numerous times, and the reason why we think that is because all these companies, all these other competitors that are in the RWA space, they are targeting institutions only. And by doing that, they are the level of entry and it's the ease of getting in and utilizing the platform it requires a lot of time commitment, right? And that's time commitment that most people don't have. And it's unrealistic to expect the retail market to be able to invest basically a full-time job on figuring out how to utilize these systems. And the beauty of what we are designing is it is a system that can be used by everyone. It is seamless integration, seamless entry, fast entry, almost a instant understanding of how things work, right? Through basically streamlining things and making things extremely digestible and extremely simple. And that has been our goal from the onset. So we took a fundamentally different approach to how we design everything. And I think, Steve, that is really, as you mentioned, what really sets us apart from everyone else out there in the RWA space.
100%. I mean, if you go to, it's very easy, obviously, to use the music artist as an example. So I'll keep going back to that. If you go to a music artist, whether it's an up-and-coming artist, an independent artist, or a multi-platinum selling artist, they have fan bases, they have audiences, they have people that would love to tokenize what they're doing, love to tokenize their album, love to actually benefit from that music artist actually going to #1 or helping that music artist get to the next level. So all of a sudden, that music artist fan base become their super fans. But these super fans, the majority of them are not into Web3 at this moment. So, to expect them to actually understand tokenization, to start looking at white papers and going into these crypto groups is just unrealistic. But obviously with us, with what we've been building, and obviously one of the main things you've been working on, Graham, one of the many things is that seamless transition from Web2 to Web3, how people can actually be in Web3, tokenizing things in Web3, purchasing things in Web3, but still feeling like they're in Web2 as well. And that's a big difference. And obviously with what Bart always talks about is us having that incubation side of things as well, even from the business side of things, whether it's a music artist, whether it's a sports team, whether it's the institution, they will have a seamless transition from the Web2 into the Web3, because now we're guiding their business, whether it's the legalities, whether it's the marketing, whether it's the platform, whether it's the education and how they can build on our blockchain, that support, that system there. If you're now an institution, if you're now a sports team, if you're now a music artist and you have this massive fan base, or even just a real estate developer, you can actually be guided by EstateX how to bring your business into tokenization as well. So it's great for the businesses, and it's also great for the end users as well.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that whole mindset, Steve, that is, that's the primary central vision of the company. That's why I got involved in the company. That's why you got involved in the company. And it honestly, it's a great vision to have, because it follows the initial ideology of the entire cryptocurrency movement. And it's also great for recruiting talent. Nobody wants to work on a project that is just for one specific niche group. Everyone wants to make a difference. You want to make a difference, Steve. I want to make a difference. Bart wants to make a difference. This is why we work all the time. This is why we love this job. This is why we have no weekends. It's because we are the true believers, right? And when you get that mindset ingrained in a company culture, right, and in an ecosystem, you see the fruits that it bears, right? And it is bearing some amazing things behind the scenes that you guys aren't seeing. And it really is helping us to coalesce this vision into an actual product that's able to be used by everyone, not just a select few.
100%. Well said. Excellent. So, Graham, do you want to start getting into some deep dive specifics?
Sure, absolutely. Is Bart going to share the screen for the presentation?
No, I assumed you would do it. I don't have the presentation.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up. It might take me 1 second. Steve, do you have it available for you?
Would you be able yes, to I don't. I can send it to one of you guys. No problem. Hold on.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Bart, while I'm pulling this up, do you want to share some of your insights of why you're so excited about the blockchain? And I know, obviously, like myself, you're a big MMA guy, and obviously, I know that we're in talks with certain sports leagues and so on and so forth. But what are the main things that you're looking forward to about the blockchain?
Well, I think that what excites me the most is it's hard to get into the nitty-gritty because there's so many things and there's so many components. It's just like EstateX as a whole, right? There's so many components to it, so many layers on top of layers, that if you unpack everything, It's so much to go through. But what I think that the blockchain is really representing is to, strengthen that, being that all-in-one RWA hub, right? Where you see a lot of different components within projects or companies that have one niche of RWA, or this niche of RWA, or this niche of RWA. But what I think the blockchain represents, and Graham will go through it, is that it represents everything that you need. And not only from the project side, if you look just purely technically at the blockchain, there are so many components of the blockchain which, we want to use, what I mean, which we came across. That's the whole reason why we started with the blockchain, is because we came across so many factors that we thought, okay, this can be improved, that would be great, this would be great, this is inefficient, that doesn't work, this does work. And what we've put together with this blockchain is basically everything that you need around RWA, like Graham said, for retail to level the playing field, but not only for retail, also for institutional, right? With things like regulated tokenization, KYC on chain, everything else around that, is that we basically facilitate everything that you need. And I think the blockchain represents EstateX as in being that all-in-one RWA hub, where no matter where you're a retail investor or an institutional investor or an institution who wants to get their assets on chain, or a new project, a new RWA project wanting to fundraise and get put into the market, EstateX has everything for everyone around RWA. And I think that is completely represented within the blockchain itself.
100%. That's just very, very exciting times. As we always say, it's the beginning of the beginning. And I think at some point soon, we will be saying, guys, this is the beginning. But believe me when we say, and over the next few weeks and next month or so, you guys will understand why this isn't even the beginning yet. So really, really, really exciting times. Graham, you have the deck now, I take it?
Oh, we lost Graham, I think.
He's there, he's frozen.
Yeah. His internet left him.
No, it's all good. He'll be on in a couple of minutes.
But what excites you most about the blockchain, mate?
Well, like I was saying before, really, it's bringing that real world into RWA. I just feel like it still kind of blows my mind that we're saying this, and it's such an amazing opportunity, and for us to be the first people to actually do this in the way that we're going to do this. And I feel like a lot of people and a lot of the EstateX audience and a lot of our OGs understand what we're going to do and know what we're going to do. I feel like a lot of the new guys will understand it more when they see it, and we kind of bring it to life, and we're onboarding some of these big institutions, some of these artists, sports teams, sports leagues, fighters, so on and so forth as well. But to be able to bring this to masses is key. And for us, as we always said, as what me and you, Bart, said, and we've been interviewed multiple times, and it's like, what is your main goal? What is your main vision? And it is to do something that's actually going to be world changing. And you have people out there that start companies. Oh yeah, we want to change the world, and so on and so forth. But we actually do have the backers, the community, the software, the developers, the superstar team, Graham included. We actually have the ecosystem and everything in place to actually do something that is going to have a positive effect on the world. And what we mean by that as well is, from the RWA side of things, is RWA is that gateway for a lot of non-crypto users into crypto. If you go out there and stop 100 random people, as we always say, majority of the people are not actually into crypto. If you stop in your normal city center or your supermarkets, and but a lot of these people buy music, a lot of these people watch sports, a lot of these people buy properties, a lot of these people are actually into RWA without actually even knowing about it as well. So as we always use the example of like Sharon, the 30-year-old single mom, she's not really going to be getting into crypto because she's seeing this new GameFi project, or she's seeing this new AI tech, or this metaverse, or whatever. She's going to get into it because it's something that relates to her, whether it's music, whether it's entertainment, whether it's property, whether it's investment, something that actually can break it down as simple as possible to somebody like that. So what really excites me is that EstateX and what we're doing with our L1 RWA blockchain is we're actually bringing that real world into RWA, and actually really paving the way for a lot of other RWA companies to actually be able to do the same. Because the more people understand in the real world about RWA, the more people are going to be understanding about blockchain and crypto as a whole in a positive light, not in a meme coin light or in a scam light or pump and dump light, actually understanding the real use cases and the real reason why blockchain was invented and the real reason why it is going to be the future, why governments are getting involved now, why these big institutions are getting involved. And that is obviously through, I believe, is going to be through RWA. I don't think there's any other niche out there in crypto that is going to get that mass worldwide adoption. And obviously, Bitcoin is hovering around the all-time high at the moment. But as I always say, if we want Bitcoin to get to 500,000 to 1 million, we can't expect the same people year after year, cycle after cycle, buying and selling into Bitcoin. We need to figure out how we're going to get the 98% of the world population that isn't really actively trading crypto, how we're going to do that. And I firmly believe it's RWA, and it begins with what we're actually starting and building here. So that's what makes me so excited.
It's absolutely right, Steve. And I might just mention that, if you go back and you ask the guys who got involved in Bitcoin back, in the early days, which I was one of them, and you ask them, well, was Bitcoin designed to be used for transactions? And they would say, no, it used to be digital gold, right? So the target demographic of Bitcoin, very tiny in comparison to RWA tokenization. Everyone potentially has RWA assets, right? Everyone does. We all own stuff in the real world. What better market to capitalize on than that, right? If you go ask your friends, how many of you guys own gold? Very few will say they do. If you go say, how many of you guys own a house? How many would you like to own a house, right? They'll all say they do, or they want to, right? So the target demographic is much larger for RWA tokenization than even these mainstream cryptocurrencies that now have very, very high market caps.
100%. And for EstateX to be at the forefront of this is going to be absolutely phenomenal for our investors, phenomenal for our projects, phenomenal for our historic journey as well. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. It's something I'm very excited. I know you are too, Steve. So without further ado, let's continue on with the presentation. So EstateX versus the world, why we win the RWA race. Hopefully we just alluded to that in our previous discussions. The revolution is already here. Steve, would you like me to continue, or would you like to add something?
Oh no, I already muted, mate. I was sitting in the passenger seat ready to let you
great.
go,
I
Graham. So
let me take
your superstar thing, Graham.
Excellent.
You do your superstar thing.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so every single $1 trillion industry has experienced the exact same thing, right? It goes from limited closed source and permissioned to open source, permissionless, decentralized. We've seen that numerous times. That has been basically the mantra and the path of all successful tokenization and cryptocurrency projects. And that has honestly opened the door for mass participation and all sorts of financial instruments. You even go back and you look at the beginnings of the stock market, which is basically the beginning of fractionalized ownership. It went through a very, very similar premise. You went from basically having to be permissioned, right, and being very closed source, and you used to have to call up your broker and buy and sell shares, to basically have that go to Web 2.0, right? And then very slowly that evolved into a mobile landscape where you have things like Robinhood and things like that, right, where they even fractionalize fractions of shares. So like I said, you can see this in financial markets, real estate, carbon markets, intellectual property. All of this stuff will be moving on chain. And it is our goal to create a holistic ecosystem that targets all demographic groups to make this become a possibility. The core focus here is, and we will get into this more when we actually start exploring our competitors here in the next few slides, but their approach is single-minded, right? They've done some amazing things. They've done some really neat things, and they've had some success, right? But they are limiting their own success by basically restricting and pigeonholing, who they are trying to target. And they are doing that on a technical level, right? On an architectural level, they're pigeonholing themselves, right? Whereas what you will see here in a few minutes is what we are doing is we went back to the drawing boards, we went back to step one, and from scratch, we redesigned everything. And this was a lot due to our own internal vision and our own internal belief systems, and why Steve and myself and Bart, we all got involved in this, right? So taking that holistic mindset, we have basically extrapolated that out into a totally new architectural paradigm, which will basically be open for everyone to be involved with. As it says on here, most blockchains were not designed for this. You will see when we go through our competitors, a lot of them, they started as one thing. They've tried to retrofit themselves to capitalize on this RWA market because they know, just like Steve was saying, how big of a market this is. This is huge. This is larger than anything that's ever happened before in the financial industry, right? And tokenization. This will absolutely revolutionize the way assets, real world assets, are looked at, are handled, and are owned. You can see at the very bottom of the slide here, we go on to talk about by 2030, over 16 trillion in real world assets will be tokenized. And like I said, it's our goal to make sure that those assets are tokenized on chains that are appropriate to them. And we are creating an ecosystem that is not just 1L1 chain, right? Steve was mentioned earlier, you've heard about the 1L1 chain. Well, there's not just 1L1 chain. There's an entire chain ecosystem that is able to accommodate and adapt to all sorts of different assets, to all sorts of different regulations, to all sorts of different jurisdictions, to all sorts of different user demographics. So let me go on to the next slide here.
And also as well, I just want to talk about the user demographics and so on and so forth, because anybody who's invested into the pre-sale of EstateX or been here for a while, especially the OGs, know what the Sharon reference means. I've seen a few confused new people in the group about like, who's Sharon? Like, why do we keep mentioning Sharon? Why is our target audience is Sharon? What about this person, or what about the guy who's married, who has this and this? So I just want to address that as well, because obviously, you know, anybody new that's coming in, it does look like obviously our community is very playful with the Sharon. You can see the stickers and the memes. But what Sharon represents, because obviously, you know, if you have a Brian who's, you know, got a mortgage, got a family, he's got a job at the bank, Brian already kind of knows a bit about crypto. Brian may have already dabbled in a bit crypto as well. Like getting somebody like Brian on board is quite, you know, I wouldn't say easy, but a lot easier. But you obviously have there's a lot of people out there that kind of are in their own world, in their own bubble, and they don't actually realize all the other demographics out there. So Sharon represents the demographic that's furthest away from crypto, somebody that you would never ever imagine to be part of crypto. Sharon wouldn't even present herself to be anything part of crypto. If you spoke to somebody like Sharon, the 30-year-old single mom from Manchester, and you said you're going to be a crypto investor, you're going to be tokenizing, she'll think you're crazy. Like, you know, she doesn't have that capacity or that interest in crypto. So from when you actually develop a product and a platform that appeals to Web 2 users, Web 3 users, but even appeals to Sharon, who has absolutely no interest in crypto or blockchain, then obviously from our point of view, you have that real mass worldwide adoption, because there are so many Sharons out there, there's so many Tracy's, there's so many other people out there that have no interest in blockchain or have an interest in tokenizing real estate or purchasing music or going down the sports team as well. So I just wanted to clear that up, that, you know, our target audience isn't just Sharon, but obviously Sharon is very important because it means now that we have that mass worldwide adoption. And in my personal opinion, you can't really go for the masses if you're only just focusing on certain demographics. You want to go for those demographics that are unusual, those demographics that you wouldn't actually feel that you can get. And once you can get those, that's when you actually get the masses. So I hope that clears it up for any of the new people wondering about the Sharon reference.
That's absolutely right, Steve. You know, and that is our one of our main focuses, you know, is making this easily accessible and easily usable for each and every person. And really, we have an obligation to do that for everyone. You know, if you go and you look back at the history of cryptocurrency, right, it is extremely complicated. It's very hard for people to get their foot in the door on a technical level. But if you look at the original ideological movement, you know, what is in the Bitcoin Genesis block? What does it say? It says chancellor at the brink of second bailout for banks, right? Now, that is an illusion, of course, to being able for people to be financially free, for people being able to be their own bank, to help themselves, to pull themselves up, and to acquire that education and acquire that capability where they can help themselves. They don't need a bank to do it for them. They don't need another financial institution to do it for them. And we are basically developing that system. So in light of that comment, let me start here on this slide from right and go left. So you will see that many of these tech RWA companies out there that are competitors, they're tech first. They're not outcome first. Some of them have developed very great technical ecosystems, right? But they have done so at an expense of making it so complicated and making the barrier of entry so high, it is impossible for somebody to get involved in it unless they have like PhD level knowledge, right? Which is totally antithetical to the cryptocurrency movement, and it's totally antithetical to what we are trying to do, which is help elevate people and improve people's lives. Something else you will see with a lot of our competitors is they're highly centralized. They have centralized validators. Nobody can, individuals cannot just say, hey, I like to start up a validator node. You have to be approved. You have to be voted on. You have to be signed off on. That is something that we do not believe in. And that is something that has been shown time and time again to ultimately fail, right? Again, they have closed ecosystems. They're only open to institutional investors, right? Or institutional participants in the ecosystem. And when you do that, you limit innovation. So ask yourself, who came up with DeFi? Who came up with NFTs? Were they institutions or were they individuals? And you will find every time that innovation, true innovation, stems from the individual. And why would I want to limit myself to just a small select group of people to derive my innovation from? Wouldn't it be a much better idea to open up the entire, your entire opportunity to develop new ideas and new concepts and new protocols to the entire market so that anyone can participate, and then you can glean that information and incorporate it into your system and make it better for everyone. So that is what we believe in, and that's how we're different from some of our competitors here. The last thing you will see, and we hinted on this earlier, single chain bottlenecks. So several of our competitors, they use a singular chain, and you will see when we go more into our architecture, how it is a multi-chain L1 architecture solidified with an L0 global unity chain that basically we have no bottlenecks, right? The more chains we spin up for each specific asset, for each specific demographic, for each specific use case, jurisdiction, regulation, it increases our throughput, right? And it becomes basically an exponential increase in throughput. So if you guys don't have any other comments, I'll go to the next slide. So how is ESX built differently and better? So you will see from a decentralization standpoint, others say we have trusted validators. We say you don't need permission to build on our system. On compliance, they say we support compliance via APIs. We say if you need compliance for your jurisdiction, for your regulatory playbook, we offer that. We can give you another L1 chain that is specific and tailored designed for that specific region. What compliance you need, we can incorporate. What compliance you don't need and what freedom that you want incorporated on your chain, we can offer you that too, right? If you are operating in a jurisdictional environment that is very open, right, where the regulatory enforcement is not on a chain level, but on an off-ramp level, we can accommodate that by having a very open chain for you. If you are operating in a regulatory environment where the enforcement of that compliance must be on chain, we can provide that for you too. The beauty of this system is each chain has a specific use case, and we can tailor make it to each person and to each potential to the needs, right, that are required. And the beauty of the global unity chain is that will basically tie in all these ecosystems and all these L1 chains where it's possible. So if it is possible for someone on one chain that has less compliance to interact with a chain that has more compliance by going through a small KYC or something, we can do that, and the L0 chain will do that. Scalability, we already basically touched on this. Others are restricted to transactions per one chain. Each additional chain we spin up, more and more transactions. It's theoretically unlimited. Upgrades, other chains require hard forks to upgrade. We have basically an evolutionary upgrade process where we don't experience any downtimes. User access. Some of these systems, like I mentioned, they're very highly permissioned. You have to get permission to do everything, right? By design, we're open to everyone, and that makes us frictionless. So now let's take a look at our main competitors. So
the best slide in the presentation.
The next slide in the presentation.
No, the best slide in the presentation.
Oh, the best slide in the presentation. Absolutely, it is the best slide because this is how we can showcase to you how we are so much different, right? How we are revolutionary different. And we've taken that from a fundamental approach of developing things from the ground up, right? We aren't just going out and taking somebody else's pre-designed system or, current system and hodgepodging it and trying to capitalize on that RWA market, right? That won't suffice. We had to start from scratch. We had to go back to the drawing board, scrap everything that was known. We looked at what our competitors were doing. We looked at the history of the crypto and the Web3 environment, and we saw what didn't work and what did work, right? And based off that, we designed everything from scratch, from the ground up. And this is what you were seeing. So
Exactly.
let's
And
take.
before you get into it, just want to say that this is obviously from the technical building block side of things as well. As you guys are aware of the other advantages, the commercial advantages, where we talk about the seamless transition from Web 2 to Web 3 with the platform white label. We're talking about the, jumping under our legal licensing and umbrella framework and all these other things. This is none of that type of thing. This is completely new advantages as well. And just look at the names that we're up against and look at the big, massive brands and look how successful these brands are today. Look at the market cap and the FTVs of these brands and how huge they are. And look at that sea of red X's and look at the beautiful row of green ticks with EstateX as well. So it's not just us talking about from a commercial point of view and all of the things that make EstateX great. We look at this from a technical point of view, the foundations, the building blocks of what Graham and the team are working on. We are far, far superior to any of these big boys as well. So again, just another example when I say we haven't even got started yet. Wait till obviously this launches. Where do you think that we're going to be, in a few months' time, a year's time, in a couple of years' time? Look at where some of these big boys are now, and obviously, look how we compare to them as well. So this is why it's one of the best slides, and this is why it's just so. It was such a big reality check for us to be like, wow, like we really are doing this. So Graham, I don't want to get too excited. I'm going to let you continue.
Well, let me just kind of expand upon that, right? So we can already see how successful some of these competitors are, right? If you look at the market caps, they're very high. If you add up the first 5 competitors on this list, excluding Ripple, you will see that the market cap's in the tens of billions, right? I mean, they've been very successful, but as I hinted to and Steve hinted to at the beginning of this call, they have, for whatever reason, and I think honestly this comes down to a philosophical misunderstanding of target demographics, but they have they're going institution first, institution only, right? Where Steve and I and Bart, we have this belief of being able to help everyone, right? And that gives us a whole new paradigm and vision of what we want to accomplish, right? Open for everyone. We're not just here for Wall Street, we're here for Main Street. And we are here to level the playing field and provide equal opportunity to Wall Street and Main Street alike, right? We aren't just trying to create a better way for the banks. We're trying to create a better way for everyone in an ecosystem that can accommodate everyone fairly and equally, right? Now, I just mentioned these top 5 competitors here on this list. They're in the tens of billions, okay? Now you will see that they're all permissioned, and for the most part, they're all centralized, right? Now, what do we want to be? Do we want to be an open, permissionless, decentralized system? Or do we want to be a permissioned, centralized system? Now, we can simply let market economics and the market cap of the best cryptocurrencies and the cryptocurrencies that are on this list speak for themselves. Look at Bitcoin. Look at Ethereum. They are permissionless. They are decentralized. What is their market cap? Add them together, it's about $1.7 trillion. Add the top 5 competitors who are centralized and permissioned. What are they? They're in the tens of billions. The market has answered. They have told you right now what is successful and what is not successful, what works and what doesn't work. Who should you appeal to? Should you restrict yourself? Should you go broad base, broad term, appeal to everyone? The answer is clear. So let's just go over these competitors really quickly. So we have Ava Labs here on the list. Very fast, but again, it's permission. They have evergreen subnets. You have to basically ask to participate in that. So we don't think that's the way to go. We have Hedera, once again, extremely centralized. Hedera has 30 centralized validators. They're all major corporations, IBM, Dell. They're expanding that to 39, but once again, it's an extremely controlled ecosystem with very centralized governance. It is not something that really appeals to us. We have Mantra here. Again, there's a very strong argument to be made that Mantra is a very permissioned and centralized system. They also had some issues with their tokenomics and their token issuance. That was kind of a little bit of a mismanagement issue that harmed basically a lot of the token holders early on. Polymesh is another extremely centralized permission system. Plume is interesting. They've kind of taken a little bit different approach to consensus than the other competitors. We are kind of taking that one step further and kind of doing more of a holistic approach to network consensus and security, which unifies token holders and validators. Then you have Ripple as the last guy on this list, and Ripple's been around from almost time immemorial in the cryptocurrency scheme, but they are this is the quintessential.
A big fan of Ripple, Graham. I know you're a very big fan.
Honestly, I do. I like, Ripple originally started as a social consensus system, right? And a lot of people don't know this, but Ripple started not on the computer and way before Bitcoin. It started in Canada with a telephone system, and it was all based on social credit. And Ripple is totally different than this now. But originally, this is where Ripple came from. We won't go into it, but honestly, the core initial belief of Ripple of creating a social credit system for people, it was great. And you had a long time ago, it totally diverged from that idea. It's nothing like that today. It is highly centralized. You have to be on basically a unique validator list that's published by Ripple. And, Ripple is like the quintessential example of something being retrofitted to try to capitalize on RWA. So Ripple was originally, and still is, it's a payment rail. It's basically a glorified payment rail. It's not designed for RWA. Do they have smart contracts? Yes, but they're limited, right? So if you really delve into Ripple, you will find out that really, are they truly equipped to handle all these use cases? In my opinion, and this is my opinion, I think there are better ways to go about it, right? But I think that pretty much sums up our competitors fairly well. So I'm going to advance to the next slide, unless Bart, you or Steve, do you guys have anything you want to comment on this?
No, I'm good. I said what I said at the start of the slide, really, of why I'm so bullish on this comparison chart, and a lot of the community and a lot of the crypto world is going to see a lot more of this comparison chart and a lot more marketing and content around the comparisons and educating people on our blockchain as well. So yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. One thing that's important, I think we go into that a little bit at the end of the deck, is obviously, like Steve said in the beginning, this is just the technical aspects which make us unique from a technical perspective. But obviously, if you're our new RWA project, or you're trying to fundraise or whatever, we got the complete legal framework for you. We can get you investors, we can get you the community, obviously with the biggest community in tokenized real estate, which we have, extremely loyal guys and always active in the community as well. Graham, the saying very nice things about you now as well. I read someone said, why my wife always asks why I'm not like Graham. So
I'm not perfect, trust me.
You're really becoming a superstar now. But besides that,
you need to tell that one to your wife, Graham. Use that one. The community said.
Send it to me. I'll send it to her.
But in all reality, it's just that EstateX offers this all-in-one package. That also on the commercial side, like if you're a project or a new company trying to get into a highly competitive market, and you have this blockchain that has all the technical benefits that you need, specialized for RWA, you can get into their legal framework. You don't even need to develop your own tech, and you can get the investors and deal flow and fundraising from them as well. It's just a no-brainer of where you want to go to if you're doing anything into RWA. And this feature matchup shows that nicely on the technical aspect, but also on the commercial aspect, which is a really big thing. It's obviously, I'm biased. We're all biased on this call, but it's different. It's unmatchable than what anybody else has to offer at the moment.
That's absolutely right. It sums it up perfectly, Bart. So let's continue to the next slide here. So what ESX actually delivers. So we touched on a lot of these earlier, right? Scale that grows with you, right? Basically unlimited transactional throughput, decentralized and compliant, right? Where we can offer absolute freedom, we will, and we'll love to do it. Where regulators make us have actual on-chain compliance instead of off-chain, on-ramp, off-ramp compliance, right? We can facilitate that too. And the beauty is we can do it in a system, one unified system that can appear as segregated or as unified as possible, right? And ultimately, we want to provide as much unity. That's why it's called the unity chain, right? The L0 unity chain as possible. And we have every belief and inclination that we will be able to do that. We're tending on the seamless and live upgrades, zero knowledge compliance. We'll touch on that more later. It's basically using ZK proofs and stuff for compliance. Built-in regulation, we touched on that a little bit earlier. And unified token economics, right? And this is something that we very, very strongly believe in. And this is something that I could spend hours and hours talking upon. But, you know, you will see in a lot of these cryptocurrency projects that the native transactional token will diverge from the actual ecosystem, right? So we believe in maintaining that unity between consensus, right? Authority to provide consensus and the actual native transactional token. And that is something that will remain in our ecosystem forever. So let's continue. The infrastructure layer of the RWA economy. So you can see here that basically we're designing the system from the ground up to be the best ecosystem for all different integrators, right? If you're a developer, you can build once, you can play on all the different L1 chains, right? If you're an asset issuer, you can have your own compliance chain. You can launch on an already established chain. You can provide cross-chain capabilities between those different L1s. We offer it. Institutions, tap into global liquidity, stay compliant locally. Absolutely. That sums up in a key the idea behind having that L0 compliance chain, and also our whole mindset of providing the ability for everyone to participate, right? Because what has this whole cryptocurrency experience shown us? It's that institutions follow value. Are institutions using Bitcoin? Or are institutions using a centralized alternative? Are they using Ethereum, or are they using a centralized alternative? They're using permissionless and open source systems, right? Decentralized systems. So institutions follow value. Investors access any tokenized asset all through a single network, all through the global L0 unity chain. If you're able to access it, you can access it. And that's the entire beauty of our whole ecosystem right here in the infrastructure layer. So let's go on to the at the very bottom. We offer others offer blockchains. We offer markets. Absolutely, we offer markets for everyone. So let's talk scale. It's very kind of a high level overview of just one specific vertical. You know, and Steve hinted on this earlier. Steve talks about this all the time. You know, the beauty of this and what really got me excited, it wasn't necessarily real estate. It was the potential to tokenize and fractionalize all different types of verticals, not just real estate, right? Now, obviously, what we're talking about here at the very top of the slide, it's just real estate, right? But a 2% boost in real estate ownership via tokenization equates to basically $325 billion in new transactions. A 5% shift is $860 billion. And this is just shifting 5% of the current real estate market on chain. Now, obviously, that's going to be a lot more than that, right? When this takes hold, it will be a lot more than that. And we are the forerunners of having it be accessible to everyone. Not niche acceptance, but broadband mainstream acceptance by creating a system that's not just for Wall Street, but also for Main Street, an equal playing field for everyone involved. With ESX, you can tokenize all these different verticals, plus more: properties, securities, commodities, carbon, IP, collectibles, and whatever comes next. And let me tell you, whatever comes next, it's what's not on the slide, which is exciting. And Steve's smiling and laughing in his head right now because he knows. But anyway, I know it's coming. What comes next? Keep that in mind. Let's go to the next slide here. Why ESX wins. This kind of sums up all our points here. Truly open, truly permissionless, truly decentralized, infinitely scalable, multiple L1 chains working in parallel, working with each other to provide that scalability. If you have one jurisdictional chain and it's working great, but you simply need more scale, spin up another one. They'll work in tandem with each other. Compliant by design, we hinted on that. built for evolution. No hard forks. We can migrate, we can change runtimes. Backed by purpose, not by legacy. That's great. Others compromise. We don't compromise. We offer opportunity, not compromises. Regulated tokenization. Absolutely. Where it's required and where it's needed to, we can absolutely fulfill that. Where it's not required, we can fulfill that too. We're an open book. What you need, we can provide. We're not just another chain, we're the foundation of tokenized finance. And that is honestly a great mantra for this entire project, right? We are the foundation, right? Everyone knows if you want a strong house, you have to have a strong foundation. And that is why we're not just taking some existing system or retrofitting something like some of our competitors are. We're started from the ground floor. Level dirt, foundation. We're building the structure, and you guys are witnessing that right now. And this is just absolutely, it's very exciting. This is why I love working with this company. This is why, we have all these people banging at our door to work for this company, because they see it. We see it. We talk to them. They see it. And, instinctually, people know, right? We give them the vision. People know it's the future. This is the foundation that you're seeing built right now.
100%. And that sentence, Graham, sounded so nice. I want to hear you say it twice. We're not just a foundation. We're not just another chain.
Right? We are the foundation, right? We are the grassroots, and we're building up from that. And that is what you're seeing come to fruition right now. And that is what you will be seeing, right? And it is absolutely quintessential for mainstream adoption. We can't just take someone else and retrofit it, right? We have to start from scratch. We saw what our competitors were doing.
Yep.
We saw the mistakes they made, and we are correcting that.
100%. We're not just another chain. We are the foundation of tokenized finance.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely right. So let's make this easy. If it wasn't abundantly clear already, let's make this easy for you, right? Want to build? You're welcome. It's here. It's open. It's available. Here you go. Feel free to build on us. We're not permissioned. We're permissionless. We're not centralized. We're decentralized. Need compliance? We have it. We have what you need. If you need compliance, here it is. If you can operate more freely, we have that also, right? It's changeable. Looking for liquidity, it's already forming. And the reason it's forming, and this is key, we did not pigeonhole ourselves. We aren't just targeting institutions. We're targeting everyone. Wall Street, Main Street. And how we're targeting them is by making it an even playing field for everyone, right? Like I said earlier, what do we know? Institutions follow value. Just look at the market cap of Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? You can see right there. That just proves my point. So this is where the RWA world is heading, and it's time to build on ESX. There's never been a better time than now. So let's keep going here a little bit. Building on the L1 foundations, unlocking the next phase of ESX. With the ESX L1 blockchain delivering unmatched decentralization, scalability, and compliance flexibility, the next strategic phase is to leverage this foundation to open up new markets, bridge jurisdictions, and accelerate adoption. This is absolutely everything we've been saying right now. We're building this framework that facilitates all these unique things that are unfortunately missing from our competitors, things that we can natively accommodate that unfortunately they cannot, because their infrastructure was not built to accommodate it, right? We started at the ground floor. We're laying the foundation to accommodate all these things. 1, regulated token exchange in Europe. ESX will extend its L1 framework into fully regulated tokenization environments in the EU, aligning with MiCA and other jurisdiction-specific regulations. This ensures tokenized real-world assets, RWAs, are recognized under European law, opening the door to institutional-grade adoption and cross-border liquidity. This is very exciting. This is something which is coming very, very soon. Stay tuned for it. It's coming. Legal umbrella for the US and the EU. Through jurisdiction-specific L1 deployments, ESX will establish a unified legal umbrella spanning both the US and European regulatory landscapes, creating a frictionless environment for asset issuers, allowing compliant cross-border offerings while preserving decentralization at its core. We had our US offering. There will be more of those. We're going to be having our EU offering. There will be more of those. And you will see this cross-chain jurisdictional compliance come to fruition. 3, RWA Launchpad to raise funds. A dedicated ESX-powered RWA Launchpad will enable projects to raise capital directly on-chain through compliant offerings of security tokens, fractionalized real estate, commodities, and other RWAs, tapping into both retail and institutional investors. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. I think that one spoke for itself right there. 4, fundraising for security tokens. Steve, why don't you go ahead if you have a comment?
Yeah, it was on the RWA pad. Just wanted to add to that for everybody to stay tuned for some great announcements coming. Most likely next week. We've got a lot of announcements coming this week, so we won't overload everybody with announcements this week. But probably next week we'll be having some great announcements on RWA pad, and we're doing so much behind the scenes. Got so many very, very interesting next level revolutionary RWA projects that want to be building on our chain. Want to be, incubated by the Launchpad. They want their own ESX trading pairs, which is really exciting as well. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes with RWA Pad, and we've actually been reached out to by big VCs that want to actually exclusively raise for certain companies and certain projects within our RWA Pad as well, which was really, really refreshing to see. I remember when we started this 4 or 5 years ago. And at first it wasn't really a VC thing. EstateX is a company built by the people for the people, and we knew at the start when VCs came to us, they saw us as the B side, and they wanted unfavorable terms. If you remember those days, Bart. So now to be in a situation where VCs are approaching us and saying that we want to be, exclusively raising for your launchpad, and we want to be part of it, is amazing. Massive top tier launchpads want to be partnering with us as well and sharing deal flow as well. So. It's just really putting in perspective how real this is getting, and it's just such a great honor and a great compliment to be approached by massive VCs and other tier one launchpads wanting to be a part of what ESX is building and the direction that we're going.
I think that's great. I'm glad you elaborated on that, Steve. That gives a little more clarity to everyone as to where we're heading in our cohesive vision here. Well, let's keep going on this list. So 4, fundraising for security tokens. Leveraging ESX's zero-knowledge compliance and white label capabilities, issuers can structure security token offerings that meet strict securities regulations while reaching global investors in a permissionless liquid market. And what do we know? What have we said this entire conversation, right? Institutions follow value. Value is built through open, permissionless, decentralized systems. And that is what we're doing here. 5, incubation by EstateX. Through EstateX's incubation program, ESX will onboard asset issuers, institutions, legal partners, and top-tier Web3 marketing firms to accelerate network growth. This network ignition model ensures new L1 deployments launch with ready-made legal and commercial support. Now, I think something that is important to hint upon here that wasn't mentioned in this write-up was innovation, right? Incubation on innovation, right? And what do we know? What innovates? Everyone. Right? If you have a permissionless system, you will get innovation. If you have a permissioned centralized system, you will not get innovation. Why would I contribute my knowledge and my expertise and my capabilities to a system that I'm excluded from? You won't, of course. So the key way to increase innovation and incubate that innovation is through openness, being permissionless, being decentralized, right? And that will bring everyone else to you. That is that needs to be your primary focus, is fostering that innovation. And when people see that innovation, and people see the innovation that is in this document that we're sharing right now, the Web3 firms, the institutions, asset issuers, they will come. So let's keep going. 6, white label tokenization technology. ESX will provide its blockchain stack as a white label solution for asset managers, institutions, and fintechs. Partners can launch branded L1 chains or asset platforms inheriting ESX's security, interoperability, and compliance modules without the cost and complexity of building their own chain. So this is something else that's very critical, right? It's modular in nature. It's modular. once certain L1 chains have been set up for certain parameters, right, they can be componentized. They can be redeployed seamlessly, right? We have that modular architecture that's able to accommodate everyone, not just one specific niche group, but everyone across the board. And I believe that is the conclusion of the conversation. I might, Bart, would you like to say something before I continue talking?
No, go ahead. Floor yours.
No. Okay. Well, I guess I would say that there are some key takeaways to this whole talk, right? So what did we learn from this whole conversation? We learned that decentralization creates value, right? Open networks grow exponentially. You can simply see that on the market cap on crypto CMC or CoinGecko, right? Decentralization creates value. The second thing I think we learned is that permissionless innovation wins, right? I hinted at this in the beginning of the call. Where did DeFi come from? Where did DAOs come from? Where did NFTs come from? They were all created in permissionless systems, right? Something else that we know is that, compliance, we are a compliant chain. We will be compliant where we need to be compliant. But I think the differentiation between us and our competitors is our competitors have mandatory 100% compliance. They assume that regulations do not adapt. And that is a false assumption. Everything in life changes, everything adapts. Nothing is consistent, right? And regulations adapt to accommodate economics and to accommodate value, right? So instead of making a system that is hard-coded to have certain strict, specific mandatory requirements, we have created a system that can accommodate that. And we will accommodate that where jurisdictionally required. But we've also created a system that is adaptable, that can be changed, that is modular in a way where we can do so in a way without breaking the network, without any downtime. So one of the third things we learned here was regulators adapt. I would say the fourth and final thing that we learned on this conversation, and I hinted at this just a few minutes ago, that institutions follow value, right? Look at where institutions are buying. They're buying on decentralized, permissionless, native transactional tokens. They're not buying the alternatives, which are our competitors mainly, right? They're going on open, decentralized systems. And it fits in line with our ideology. It fits in line with the whole idea of the business. This business was started to help everyone to buy real estate for as little as $100, right? That is where we are going. Steve, myself, Bart, we believe with all of our hearts that is the best way to help people. And that just happens to coincide with this very unique market opportunity we find ourselves in, where it seems like none of our competitors are following this path for whatever reason, but we have the capabilities to do so. We are doing so, and we are laying that strong foundational framework to be able to do so in the future. So I'll hand it over to you and Steve, Bart.
I love that, Graham. Well said. Well said. And yeah, one of our main advantages, obviously, we are, as we said, as we always say, we're a company built by the people, for the people. The contacts that we have in the real world does kind of like, really take us to the next level in comparison to some of these other people out there on the comparison chart as well. So, it's great to obviously see the comparisons. It's great to obviously understand what EstateX is all about. But people will see in the next few months, in the next year or so, what we're doing, how we're going to be reaching the masses, how we're going to be bringing the real world into RWA. So like we said, it is surprising, but it's not surprising and just really, really exciting. I don't even want to say too much because obviously, Graham, you rounded it up perfectly. Obviously, you said some amazing, amazing things, gems, educations, one-liners, literally the comparisons, you had it all. So you absolutely smashed it at the park, Graham. Pleasure having you on board. This is only just beginning, and to the EstateX community that's enjoying Graham, that's enjoying Steve Craggs. As Graham said, he touched upon something really important as well, that we have so many people knocking, high-level people knocking down our door to be a part of EstateX, to work for EstateX now as well, and we're slowly but surely building a team of killers. You know what I mean? Graham included, Steve Craggs included. There's so many other great people that we're going to be introducing to you guys, and just really glad that you guys are seeing the hard work paying off, seeing the team grow, seeing that dream team grow. And as we say, it's just the beginning.
Absolutely, Steve. It's a pleasure to be involved with this company. And, honestly, without you and Bart forming the initial vision, right, you wouldn't have attracted this talent. So it was really a pat yourselves on the back, because
Thank you.
you've done an amazing job, and there's only a bright future ahead for us. I know it.
Yes,
So
we appreciate that. We're about to make history.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, sounds
Wow.
good.
Yeah, I'll just close it off because I've nothing to add to this. I think you guys stole the show as always. So it's great always having a live stream with these guys on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll most likely be posting this whole document very, very shortly for you to read through, to skim through. We're going to update this also within the coming weeks with new developments, new things, new updates that we want to add to it. And then, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. As you know, it's just the beginning of the beginning when all of this is going to be released in the height of next quarter, which is very, very exciting, together with the investment platform, the institutions that we're going to be announcing that are going to be building on the blockchain. It's all going to lead up to that one spectacle of a Q4, Q1, Q2 of next year, and obviously following from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. It was an absolute pleasure, and wish you all the best, and see you on the next live stream. Cheers.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.